Listen to me. I don't know who needs to hear this today, but I know you're out there. I know you've smiled in rooms where your heart was shattered. I know you've shown up for others while secretly praying somebody, anybody, will show up for you. I know you've cried in silence, wiped your face, and then kept going like nothing ever happened. This ain't for the crowd that had it easy. This ain't for the ones who got back up every time they stumbled. This right here, this is for the ones who had to fight battles in the dark. This is for the ones who didn't get no cheers, no help, no understanding, but still refused to fold. I'm talking to the warrior in you, the survivor in you, the version of you that nobody clapped for, but you still stood up. You still showed up. You still kept breathing when life was trying to choke the hope out of you. This message, this entire message, ain't motivation. This is recognition. This is me looking you dead in the soul and saying, I see you. They may not know what you had to endure, but I do. They may not know how much it cost you to get here, but I do. You've been fighting silent battles that nobody clapped for, but I came here to remind you that you didn't fight for nothing. So don't click away. Don't walk out. Don't turn this off. Because for the first time, someone's speaking your language. Somebody is finally putting words to the pain you never told anyone about. I promise you, if you stay with me through this message, it's going to restore something in you, not because I'm hype, not because I'm loud, but because this is real. This is truth. And truth has a way of setting people free. So sit back, lock in, and let's go there together. You're still standing. After everything you've been through, you're still breathing, still waking up, still moving. You didn't fold. You didn't give in. And I know it wasn't easy. I know there were nights where you laid in that bed staring at the ceiling, asking yourself, why me? You ever felt that? That weight in your chest that won't let you breathe fully, that lump in your throat, when you gotta act like everything's okay, but deep down inside, you're barely hanging on. Let me say this to you right now. I don't care how broken you felt, how tired you got, how close you came to quitting, you didn't. And that matters. That counts. That speaks volumes. You're still here. You're still in the fight. You're still showing up. Not because it's easy, but because you got something in you that refuses to die. That's not weakness. That's not luck. That's not chance. That's strength. Real strength. I'm not talking about the strength people post about online, the cute quotes and inspirational memes. No, I'm talking about that unshakable, unspoken strength that doesn't come with applause. The kind of strength that don't get attention, that don't get celebrated because nobody saw it. Nobody saw the internal wars. Nobody saw the breakdowns you had to bounce back from in secret. Nobody saw the moments when you had every reason to stop, but something inside whispered, just keep going. Let me tell you something real. Survival is underrated. Everybody wants to talk about success, fame, money, goals. But what about survival? What about the people who are just trying to stay sane, just trying to keep their family together, just trying to keep their head above water? You made it through what was designed to destroy you. You got up when staying down was more comfortable. You smiled again after heartbreak. You trusted again after betrayal. You believed again after everything fell apart. That ain't soft. That's not weakness. That's warrior energy. That's the kind of power that doesn't look pretty, but is real. You ain't perfect, but you're powerful. You've been stretched, pushed, broken, crushed, and somehow you're still functioning. You're still putting one foot in front of the other. You're still showing up for your kids, your work, your dreams, your purpose, even when nobody showed up for you. You ever think about how many times you could have given up but didn't? How many times your mind told you to stop, but your soul said not yet? That's not coincidence. That's divine. That's purpose. That's growth. There's a version of you that exists today that couldn't have existed without those battles. You ain't who you used to be. And that's a good thing. You were forged in the fire, built in silence, and trained by trials. What most people see is the version of you that made it, but they'll never truly grasp what it cost. And you know what? That's okay. They don't have to understand. They don't have to get it. You're not living for their understanding. You're living for your becoming. And there's a certain level of freedom that comes when you stop needing people to validate your struggle. You don't owe anybody an explanation for how you survived. You don't owe them your story just so they'll respect your grind. Because what you went through, it wasn't for them anyway. It was for you. It was for your growth. It was for your strength. It was for the version of you that you had to meet when everything else fell away, when the friends faded, when the money ran out, when the support disappeared. You had to learn how to stand on your own. And now you're stronger because of it. See, pressure reveals character. Pain reveals power. You didn't become weak in the storm. You were revealed in it. You didn't lose yourself. You met yourself. That's what happens when life squeezes you. Either you break or you become unbreakable. And you became a different animal, not because you wanted to, but because you had to. So when you look in the mirror, stop seeing the mess. Stop seeing the flaws. Stop seeing what's missing. Start seeing what's still standing. That's you. Stronger, wiser, battle-tested. There's something unshakable in you now. You walk different because you've been through different. And the world may not understand it, but the world doesn't have to. You're still here for a reason, still breathing for a reason, still waking up every day for a reason. Don't you ever doubt that. Don't you ever minimize that. Don't let the fact that others can't see your scars make you believe your strength ain't real. Every silent battle you fought left a lesson. Every moment you pushed through became proof, and every second you refused to quit made you the force you are today. So I need you to hold your head up, not because life is perfect, but because you're still standing. And sometimes in a world that tries to knock you down daily, that alone is a miracle worth recognizing. Stop waiting for people to understand. Stop waiting for people to recognize what you've been through. Stop sitting around hoping somebody will finally see the weight you carried, the pain you endured, the strength it took just to make it through one more day. The truth is, most people will never understand, not because they're evil, not because they don't care, but because they were never meant to fight your battles. They didn't walk through the fire you walked through. They didn't cry the tears you cried. They didn't feel the betrayal, the fear, the pressure. They didn't feel what it did to your heart. They didn't feel what it took for you to pick yourself back up. They didn't feel how close you came to walking away from everything, even yourself. And that's why you got to stop expecting them to applaud something they never saw. You got to stop needing validation for a fight that was built in silence. Let me tell you something. Some of your greatest victories will go unnoticed. Some of your hardest days will never be acknowledged. There are going to be times where you cry out for help and no one answers. Times when you're screaming on the inside. Times when you just want anybody to say, I see you. But they don't. And that's okay. Because you didn't fight those battles to be seen. You fought them because you had to survive. You got to get to a point where your self-worth ain't built on external praise. You got to become so grounded, so locked in, so aware of who you are, that even when the whole world is silent, you still know you're valuable. You're still worthy. You're still enough. You don't need the crowd to confirm what God already put inside you. You don't need the applause to validate your survival. The very fact that you're still here is the evidence. Think about it. How many times did you push through something that would have crushed someone else? How many moments did you show up when you were mentally and emotionally done? How many situations did you walk through without letting anyone know how bad it really was? That's not just strength. That's resilience. That's courage. And you didn't do it for recognition. You did it because you refused to let your story end in pain. You did it because quitting wasn't an option. You did it because deep down, you knew there was more to your life than suffering. And here's the hard truth. Sometimes your reward isn't applause. It's peace. It's freedom. It's knowing that you didn't let the pain win. It's being able to wake up in the morning and look yourself in the mirror without regret. It's being able to say, I didn't give up on myself. That's the win. That's the reward. Not everybody clapping for you, not everybody patting you on the back, but you knowing in your heart, you made it through something that was meant to break you. Let's be real. You've been through enough to justify quitting. You've been hurt enough to become bitter. You've been betrayed enough to turn cold. You've had doors slammed in your face. You've had people overlook you. You've had moments where you felt invisible, but you didn't let it harden you. You didn't let it turn you into someone you're not. You still love. You still believe. You still try. That's strength. Most people don't even have the capacity to understand. So stop explaining yourself. Stop oversharing just to be accepted. Stop shrinking your pain into a highlight reel that others can digest. Nah, what you went through wasn't pretty. It wasn't poetic. It was ugly. It was messy. It was dark, but it shaped you. It made you. You don't have to package it with the bow just to make people comfortable. Let them wonder. Let them assume. Let them get it wrong. You know the truth. And the truth is, you've been fighting for a long time. And now you're starting to win, even if they can't see it. Some people won't get it until they go through something themselves. And even then, they still might not, but their understanding isn't your assignment. Your assignment is to keep growing, keep healing, keep walking, keep showing up. Your assignment is to live in truth, to stand in your power, and to stop dimming your light just because other people can't comprehend the fire that forged you. Look, I know what it feels like to be misunderstood, to be labeled, to be misjudged. I know what it's like to carry trauma that you can't talk about because nobody around you has the reins to hold it. I know what it's like to outgrow environments and relationships that can't hold the weight of your calling. But I also know what it's like to finally realize you were never made to be understood by everyone. You were made to walk a path that was yours alone, a path that required isolation, a path that required pressure, a path that required you to become someone new, someone better, someone stronger. And guess what? You did. You became that. You're becoming that. Every day you don't give up, you're becoming more of who you were created to be. Every day you keep walking with no applause, you're showing yourself just how unstoppable you are. You're not a victim. You're not broken. You're becoming. And that becoming is bigger than validation. It's bigger than understanding. It's rooted in something unshakable, something eternal, something untouchable. So I don't want you to sit around waiting for someone to finally say, I get it. They may never get it, and that's fine, because you didn't live it for them. You lived it for you. You didn't fight for them. You fought for your future. You didn't bleed just to be seen. You bled because you refused to die with potential still inside you. That's the truth. That's the victory. And if they never say thank you, if they never say you're strong, if they never say I admire you, it's okay. Because the fight gave you something better than approval. It gave you identity. Everything that came into your life trying to break you didn't win. It built you. You didn't just go through pain, you grew through pain. And I know that sounds crazy when you're in the middle of it. I know when you're hurting, when you're struggling, when you're overwhelmed, it doesn't feel like growth. It feels like punishment. It feels like everything is against you. It feels like you're cursed. But I promise you, if you don't quit, if you just hold on, you're going to look back one day and realize it wasn't trying to kill you, it was trying to shape you. See, pressure does two things. It either crushes you or it forms you. You were in situations that could have shattered you, and maybe they did for a moment. Maybe you broke down, maybe you cried, maybe you felt like you couldn't take another step. But even if you crawled, even if you had to drag yourself, you moved. You kept going. You didn't stop. That pain you went through, it became your training ground. That heartbreak wasn't just heartbreak. It taught you boundaries. That betrayal wasn't just betrayal. It taught you discernment. That failure, it didn't make you a loser. It taught you how to stand when everything else around you fell. And people won't get it. They'll see the strength, but not the story. They'll see the power, but not the process. They'll see the light in you now, but they won't understand the darkness you had to walk through to ignite it. And that's fine. Let them admire the shine. Just know it came from fire, real fire. Fire that almost took you out, fire that almost took you out, fire that almost had you questioning everything, your worth, your purpose, your future. But instead of burning you down, it burned away the fear. It burned away the doubt. It burned away the version of you that was playing small, playing scared. You were never weak. You were raw. You were learning. You were becoming. Life didn't break you. It introduced you to the parts of yourself that you didn't even know existed. That grit, that perseverance, that level of focus, that hunger. You wouldn't have tapped into that without the storm. You needed the storm to awaken it. I know you didn't want it. Nobody asks for struggle. Nobody asks for chaos. But growth doesn't come wrapped in comfort. It comes with pressure, with heat, with pain, because that's what produces real transformation. You ever look back at your past and say, I don't know how I made it through that? That's how you know something was happening on the inside, even when everything on the outside was falling apart. That's how you know you were being built in ways that nobody else could see. You weren't just surviving, you were evolving. You were shifting, you were stepping into something greater, even when your circumstances looked like they were pulling you backward. Sometimes that backward pull is just a slingshot, setting you up to launch forward. And I need you to catch this. Just because it hurt doesn't mean it was wasted. Just because it broke your heart doesn't mean it broke your purpose. Some of the most painful moments you've ever experienced are the very moments that unlock your clarity, your confidence, your character. And now you move different, you speak different, you think different because you've been through. The version of you that exists today is stronger, wiser, more dangerous to fear, more lethal to doubt. You're not soft anymore. You've got a sharpened edge now. Life gave you that edge. You stopped needing perfect conditions. You stopped needing people to believe in you. You stopped needing applause. You started waking up and saying, I've got everything I need already inside of me. That mindset didn't come from a good day. It came from war. It came from nights where you didn't know if you were going to make it. It came from moments when you questioned your own worth, but still chose to get up. That mindset is the fruit of the battles you fought that no one else saw. And I know people look at you now and think you've changed. Yeah, you have. You're not that person who needs permission anymore. You're not that person who waits to be chosen. You're not that person who needs 100 opinions before you move. You've been through enough to know who you are. And if the world doesn't understand that transformation, they weren't meant to. The caterpillar didn't ask the world for permission to become a butterfly. It just went through its process. It went through its darkness. It sat still. It broke down. It shed. It surrendered. And in the silence, in the pressure, in the isolation, it became something entirely new. That's what you did, and you're still doing it. Stop resenting what you went through. Start honoring it. That pain wasn't just pain, it was a path. It was preparing you for something bigger than you. And now you walk with a different confidence. Not because life is easy, but because you know you've already overcome things that should have taken you out. You walk into rooms and don't flinch. You stand in front of storms and don't fold, because you know deep down that what's in front of you is nothing compared to what's already behind you. That's why you're dangerous now, because you've seen rock bottom and chose not to stay there, because you've buried versions of yourself and still kept rising, because you fought demons in your mind and didn't lose your soul, because you've been through losses and didn't lose your purpose. because life tried to bury you, but it didn't know you were a seed. So no, what broke you didn't win. What tried to destroy you didn't succeed. It activated you. It woke you up. It reminded you who you were and who you were never meant to be. And now, because of everything you've been through, you're not just surviving anymore. You're building. You're creating. You're walking in power. You're moving with purpose. And you're doing it with a fire that didn't come from comfort. It came from the fight. There comes a moment when you realize this whole thing, your fight, your struggle, your tears, your breakthrough, it was never just about you. You thought you were just trying to survive. You thought you were just trying to get through another day without falling apart. You thought all the pain you carried, all the battles you fought, all the nights you cried in silence, you thought it was just about making it out. But what you didn't see in those moments was that someone else was watching. Someone else was being inspired. Someone else was seeing your strength and finding their own. See, the battles you fought in secret, they're not in vain. They carry weight beyond your own healing. There's somebody right now walking around with the same pain you carry, thinking they're the only one, thinking nobody gets it, thinking it's not possible to come out of it. And you, just by existing, just by standing tall after everything, you are proof that healing is possible, that survival is possible, that rising again is possible. You're not just a survivor. You're a symbol. You're living evidence. You're someone's hope. And I know you didn't ask for that. I know you didn't want to be the example, but life made you the example anyway. Because you didn't die in the fire. You didn't drown in the flood. You didn't disappear when things got ugly. You stayed, you grew, you kept showing up. And now your scars speak louder than words. They're not weaknesses, they're testimonies. You ever wonder why some people are drawn to you without you saying a word? Why they trust you, lean on you, look up to you, even when you don't feel like you've got it all together? It's because they feel your journey. They may not know your story in detail, but they feel your fight. They feel your resilience. They sense that you've been through the valley and made it out. People are drawn to real strength, not the kind that talks loud, but the kind that lives loud, even in silence. And that's what you've been doing. You've been living out strength in a quiet, steady, powerful way that's changing people even if you don't see it. That kid who grew up in chaos but sees you walking in peace, you're giving him hope. That woman who's been betrayed over and over again but sees you still loving with an open heart, you're showing her it's possible. That man who's been drowning in depression but sees you get up every day and grind, you're proving to him that there's still purpose even in the pain. You don't have to preach. You don't have to explain. You just have to be, because your presence, your healed, growing, real presence, that's the sermon. That's the message. That's the proof. You are walking medicine. You are a living reminder that broken doesn't mean done, that tired doesn't mean finished, that silence doesn't mean defeat. Somebody's watching how you carry your burden and saying, if they can do it, I can too. Somebody's reading the energy in your smile, not the fake one, the real one, the hard-earned one, and it's giving them a reason to fight another day. You don't even realize how much power you carry just by not giving up. Just by walking into the room, you shift the atmosphere, because you bring with you everything you had to overcome. And that energy is undeniable. It's felt. It's real. You've been so focused on what you lost, what you struggled through, what didn't work out, but have you even taken a moment to realize what you've become? You've become a blueprint. You become a foundation for someone else's breakthrough. You become the reason someone else doesn't quit. You become the answer to someone else's prayer. And the beautiful thing is, you didn't even do it on purpose. You weren't trying to inspire anyone. You were just trying to breathe. You were just trying to survive. But your survival turned into someone else's strategy. Your comeback became their compass. Your quiet fight gave them volume. That's what purpose looks like. It's not always loud. It's not always on stages. Sometimes it's in the background, in the shadows, in the day-to-day decisions you make to keep going, even when no